Alrighty, what is up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of Daily Protein with Kyler. So I'm your host, Kyler Johnson. So I'm recording a video as well as on top of the podcast recording because I plan on putting the videos on YouTube. You'll probably be able to find that one first, just because after recording it takes a little bit of time to get accepted to upload onto Apple and Spotify. It's because those of you that listen to Barbells and Black Belts, that Phil and I recorded together. So yeah, we decided to take a break from that podcast just because life happens, and we might eventually go back to it. For now, we're just taking a break. So I've decided to go on a solo podcast, especially because I have a little more time than Phil does. He's still working full time. Meanwhile, the gym is closed, so I have more time to record. So those of you that have not listened to that podcast, a little background on me is I am a trainer at Crunch Fitness in Santa Rosa, up in Northern California, and I've been doing that for a little over a year, and I trained part-time at another gym before that, but fitness has been a part of my life for a long time. So just brief background on me. I grew up playing sports. I had three brothers, one older, two younger. And so I was always active, always active. Playing soccer from age 5, up until playing football throughout high school. And that's the sport I chose. Looked at almost playing in college. And at the time, I was just kind of burnt out after my senior year. And decided to focus on school, which I think was a great idea. And for those of you who don't know, I grew up in Southern California. And so I decided to get out of that area, because a lot of the schools I had applied to play football at were within Orange County or LA County. So I decided to go to Sonoma State in 2011 and came up to the North Bay, and I've been up here ever since, and I love it up here. So that's kind of a background on so that's where I'm at. But as far as fitness, so yeah, like I said, I've been playing sports since I was younger, got into football, dealt with, as those of you that have seen my YouTube video I posted a few days ago, or last week, I've gone through various weight cuts, weight loss programs, some being healthier than others. So, and as well as playing sports. So today, this is kind of a rough draft, but this will be the first episode. I'm kind of figuring out the format that I want to do and record in. So I just want to do an intro. That's kind of my background. So I've done weight loss, I've dealt with weight loss clients, general strength, I've built muscle, I've done a lot of different types of training, athletic training, all the above. Obviously so kind of my next topic is my thoughts on COVID-19 and what has been going on these past couple months. So obviously for all of us, this is a completely new way of life to be living, being quarantined. I definitely think there's pros and cons, as you've seen. I think we're all going a little stir crazy. I think definitely for me, in the first couple weeks, it was rough, just because I think my whole routine was thrown off. I'm a very routine person. So when I get thrown out of my routine, everything feels off. Like my sleep cycle was off, eating was off, everything was new. And I kind of had more of a negative outlook on it. I'm like, why is this happening? How long is it going to go on for? A month at the time seemed forever, right? 3 weeks. It's like, oh, the gym's going to be closed for 3 weeks. Like, what am I going to do? Now it's going on, I believe this is the 6th or 7th week. I honestly don't know. And it's the new normal, like I said. We've all, I think, or at least starting to adjust to this, and obviously it's not, in my opinion, I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. Obviously, they're still trying to find a vaccine. And obviously, they've said, at least here in California, that they're going to start to slowly modify and lift restrictions. But then again, I think a lot of people think once everything opens up, it's going to be back to normal. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to slowly, do their modifications, but it's going to take a while for life to go back to the way it was. Maybe it could be a year from now, who knows. But there's a lot of positive things that have come out of it. I think it gives people time to, at least for me, kind of after those first couple weeks, I kind of decided to do things that I had been putting off for a while. You know, one thing being creating this podcast. Like I said, I'd done the barbells and black belts one before with Phil, and that was great, and I loved it. We obviously hadn't done that. I think we last recorded back in January, so it's been a few months since we've recorded. So I'm starting that today. I've been starting a YouTube channel, like I said before. Also, another thing, I've been doing a lot of running. I've been putting that on my social media too, and that's kind of my new thing. Is I want to work my way up to a half marathon, and then eventually an Ironman. That would be like the end goal, but that requires a lot of training. Normally, I'm not a runner at all. I do like running. It's just I don't typically. It's not my normal routine. Like when I'm at the gym, cardio is usually the last thing on my mind, unless it's kind of like HIIT cardio, so high intensity interval training. I do enjoy that every now and then, but like just running, I really don't run at all. And so now that the weather here in California has been beautiful as I look out my window in my condo. It's really nice today, super sunny. So I did a 3-mile run earlier after I did some weight training before that. So just getting outside, I think that's been a game changer for me. Because it's one thing that I can get out. It's just me and the trail, and I can push myself and just get some vitamin D, get some sun, you know, get those endorphins going. And if I don't run, I can go on walks too, even before that. Just getting outside and getting some fresh air definitely changes your mindset. Yeah, I think it's obviously a weird time, you know, but I think the biggest thing is just what I've noticed. It's weird going out and running errands. Like, not that I liked running errands before, but now it's like, it makes it even worse. And it's not so much like obviously wearing a mask is a pain in the ass, but it's also necessary. Just of being cautious and being aware. Yeah, maybe like the percentage is small. A lot of people think it's not as big a deal as people make it seem, and that may be, but to some people it is. You know, people that have underlying conditions and people that are elderly, you know, like you go to a store and you can run into any types of those people. So you may have it, or maybe somehow carried it on, you might pass on. So you just gotta be cautious, you know, you never know. But my biggest thing is I think it's changed from what I've seen, at least going out, is people are like on edge, and I get why, but there's no reason to be rude to one another. You know, if anything, this is a time that we should come together and kind of like lift each other up, you know, support. Like I've seen a lot of people going out and eating out, getting takeout at restaurants, just to help support their local businesses, which I think is great, you know, because that's what they need, unless they're not going to be able to survive. So I like that positive. I think that's the biggest thing, is just spread positivity rather than negativity. You know, as negative of a situation it is, we don't need more negativity. You know, if anything, bring some positivity to it and kind of support each other and keep each other going while we get through this. Yeah, so that's kind of my 2 cents on that. You know, I think also in regards to exercise, I think a lot of people use an excuse to not exercise. You know, from what I've seen, like, I've done a little bit of drinking. You know, I did do it for 5 weeks just because I was trying to cut weight, and I do enjoy it, but I think a lot of people use that as an excuse, especially in the beginning. I don't know, maybe not as bad now, but it's an excuse to drink, you know, like I don't have to work, so people get out of their schedule and they get more complacent and lazy, plain and simple. But it's not an excuse not to work out. Just because you don't have a gym, like I said, you can literally go out and run, you know, every single day. Or you can do body weight, like that's all you need, you know. Yeah, it'd be nice to have weights, but you can work with what you got, you know. Yeah, I mean, if anything, working out is going to help you fight off this coronavirus, you know, because working out helps boost your immune system. Obviously, like I said, getting outside, you need some vitamin D. Your body needs that for its immune system and all these things. And like on the opposite side, drinking, that definitely lowers your immune system and makes you more prone to getting sick. So keep exercising. Like I said, you don't have to be running almost every day like I am. You can go walk, you know, or you can do 10-minute walk set something up, you know, 10-minute walk every single day or 4 days a week, and slowly ramp that up. But it's no excuse to not. Yeah, it sucks not having a gym, and definitely like I said, for me, it was adjusting to a new routine, because that was my routine this entire time. And there's some days, like, it's not going to be just a happy-go-lucky, you know, clear path, right? There's going to be good days and bad days, like there is with everyday life, whether this quarantine thing's going on or not. You know, there's days I wake up and I'm super motivated, you know, there's days I wake up when I'm not so motivated, you know, but I think you just got to stay consistent. So that's kind of my thoughts on what is going on in the world and whatnot, and just check in there. So stay positive, support each other, be cautious, be aware, stay active, and stay healthy. I'll leave it there. So my topic of the day, I kind of want to figure out like a cool like nickname, not nickname, but cool topic, like something creative. Well, I'll get to. But anyways, topic of the day is food. I can't speak. Food is fuel. And what I mean by that is obviously watched one of my other videos. I said you are what you eat. And I think that holds true. You know, you want to put you want to put good oil and gas in your car, right? Keep it running, you know, maintain it. You want to do something for your body. You want to feel good. You want to look good. You want to put the right stuff in it, right? If you're eating McDonald's and eating takeout every single day and not eating high quality food, obviously your body is not going to feel high quality. You know, you're not going to feel good. It changes your mindset. I think it's the biggest thing people don't realize is and that's what I've realized these 5 weeks of not drinking I had pizza once, and that was the only time I ate out in a 5-week span. How crazy that, on top of I was managing my stress, you know, readjusting my mindset, sleeping, hydration, all the things I went over in that 7 ways to lose weight effectively. I was doing all those things, but the biggest thing for me was my mindset and how much more like positive I felt day in and day out, you know, regardless of what was going on around me. Like I felt strong within myself. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? So when you're giving your body the things it needs to thrive, you're going to be able to thrive elsewhere. But yeah, I want to dive into a few topics. So yeah, if you guys watched that other video, I did talk about nutrition a little bit. But I think the biggest thing that people, and I've even kind of misconceptualized this, is quality over quantity. You know, I think tracking macros is great and it's beneficial for a lot of people. It helped me a lot. You know, if you really have a goal to gain weight or lose weight, you want to track, just because that's the science behind it. That's what's going to make or break it. You know, I don't think it's right to do it year round just because it messes too much with your mind. But you want to focus more on quality foods, which is kind of what my last video I talked about. I talked about on Instagram is I'm switching over from tracking. So I have not been tracking since, I don't remember which day. I don't even think it's been a week yet. You know, it's been a few days. And just eating intuitively. So I'm still eating good. Like that's funny because my diet hasn't changed a whole lot. I did drink a little bit this weekend, but that was about it. And besides that, I've been eating pretty clean. But yeah, it's just focusing on good whole foods, you know, like lean meats, protein, you know, keep your protein high. So whether you're trying to lose weight or build muscle, you want to keep that protein level high. And that's going to make a big difference. So I'm still eating a lot of chicken, I eat ground turkey, you know, I bought some steaks, I'm going to throw that in there, eggs, egg whites, all that stuff, but also fruits and vegetables. I think a lot of people miss out on that, you know. I've actually now, I think I mentioned in one of my other videos that after I had pizza, I was craving, you know, it was great and it tasted really good, not gonna lie, I love pizza, it's still one of my favorite foods. But I was craving my regular routine after that the next day. You know, I could feel it in my body, I could feel the inflammation. And that's what I mean, is when you start to see the positive effects of eating clean and eating good whole foods and, you know, exercising and hydrating and sleeping well and everything, like you're not gonna want to stop. That's the thing. And you'll feel a difference when you go back to your old ways. You know, like I said, when I ate pizza just one night, like it obviously didn't set me back at all. And it's totally fine to have a cheat day. I think that's, you know, depending on how strict your goals, I think it's helpful from a mental standpoint because it kind of allows you to relax and, again, not focusing so much on the numbers and just kind of enjoy it, you know. And that's why I do it. But I could feel the next day all the inflammation and my body just didn't feel as good, you know. And what I mean by whole foods is not processed stuff. You know, there's a lot of processed stuff out there. I'm not saying I definitely eat some processed stuff, but I focus most of my calories on good whole foods. Like I'm eating eggs. Egg whites are a little processed, it's one thing. I just eat egg whites because I don't want quite as much cholesterol and fat with eating, because it would have been a total of 8 eggs in the morning. So I eat 6 egg whites and 2 whole eggs. So that's why I do that. Otherwise, it's oatmeal. It's almond butter, which I mean is a little processed, but nothing too crazy. Chicken, ground turkey. And that's the hard thing, is almost everything's processed in these days. You know, let's see, buying organic food. There's a little of processed stuff going on, but the least out of that. You know, pick the best out of that. So not relying on, you know, like pizza, frozen pizza, Pop-Tarts, chips, and I mean, you name it. And that's things you guys all know what is good for your body, you know. Like they say, go around, don't go through the aisles. I mean, it's not fully true, but don't go through the aisles of the store, you know, because typically, you know, at least the meat, eggs are usually in the aisle, but meat and produce are usually on the outer edges, right? They're not in an aisle for most stores, right? Again, obviously it varies, but that is definitely a helpful tip, you know. Focus most of your food on that, and then if you want some processed stuff, throw that in there at the end. But the problem with processed foods is, which I've mentioned before, is they're designed, like genetically designed, to be highly palatable, which what that means is your body's going to crave more of it. And obviously they design that because you eat more, then you buy more. Obviously those companies are going to make more money. But it's that obviously you're eating more, and it's a lot more higher calorie. And it's a lot easier to eat a lot more calories from highly processed foods rather than like whole foods like chicken and rice. I mean, I think most of us don't eat chicken and rice and veggies and, you know, don't binge eat that while they're watching Netflix or anything, you know, right? You have your one meal and then you're done and you're ready to go. Rather than if you're sitting there with a bag of potato chips, you're obviously more inclined to eat a lot more. And that's another point I want to make is don't eat distracted. I think that's the hardest thing, and I still do it. I've kind of switched over to, so this table I'm sitting on right here in our like hybrid kitchen dining room, you want to call it. Normally I sit over in our living room in front of the TV, and I'll still do that occasionally, especially if we're like eating together with my roommate and or friends over. I'll do that, but lately I've just been sitting at the table, and honestly I like it more. You know, maybe I'll have music on, or I'll listen to a podcast, or I'll just kind of sit out and look at, I mean, there's not a whole lot out in front of me. I mean, there's condo on condo, but there's trees and there's a beautiful sky and it's nice and sunny outside. So it's a nicer way to eat, and I'm not distracted. So that's one thing I've changed. But also, I think the next thing I want to get into, maybe the last thing I'll talk about, is the value of food. I think there's different categories, right? So there's the nutritional fuel side, right? Which is what most food should be for you, right? I'm eating this so my body feels good, it performs right, it needs these nutrients. That I think people miss out on a lot, and they focus more on like the emotional side. You know, obviously food for a lot of people has emotional value. When they're stressed, you know, coping with something, they tend to eat. You know, it is usually not the healthiest food, right? We all have our comfort foods that make us feel good, you know, but usually if you're stressed and overwhelmed, you're not going to turn to chicken and rice, you know, and some vegetables. You usually like pizza or ice cream, or, you know, could be drinking, something like that. And I think there's benefits to it. That's why I think there's, like, again, I said cheat meals I think are important because it allows your mind to relax. You kind of get that emotional thing, but you don't want to get too much emotional attachment to food. You know, I think that's where you kind of have to draw the line and eat stuff for your health and well-being rather than like how it makes you feel in the moment. Because again, going back to like when I had pizza, in the moment it made me feel good, right? But that next morning I didn't feel the same as eating clean every single day. And I think that's the misconception, is people are impatient, and especially now they want that with like phones and everything, like so much instant gratification that our minds are used to. They want that instant gratification with the food, right? They're like, oh, I'll eat this pizza, it's gonna make me feel better, right? It's gonna solve all my problems. And it may feel like that in those few moments of eating that, but afterwards it doesn't set you up for success. So I think kind of trying to draw that line, you know, between that emotional side and that more nutritious and fuel side. I think that's the biggest misconception out there, and it's sometimes hard to work on, but it's kind of readjusting your mindset towards that. And again, like I said, once you start eating these healthy foods, like, you're not going to want to go back. You know, once you see how you feel off of it compared to what you're eating before, like, it's going to make a huge difference. On the other hand, I do see there's a huge social side to eating. Now it's hard because we can't go to restaurants, but a lot of social events are planned around food, right? Thanksgiving, you know, even Christmas, you know, holidays, birthdays, you name it, New Year's, Super Bowl party, food is surrounded by all of that. And I think that's a great thing. You know, food can bring people together, you know, and they can share moments. But those are a few times a year, right? It's not every single day that you're doing that. So I think those are the times where you can do more of that emotional side of eating. You know, you're bonding over, could be drinking. You know, we all have those when you celebrate and have a drink with your buddies or your family. You know, it's nice, especially in a stressful time like this. But again, it's not the day in and day out thing that you want to do. Save that emotional time when you're with family, with friends, and you're celebrating something. And I promise you'll see the differences, right? Again, focusing on food is fuel and you are what you eat, to kind of wrap everything up. Yeah, and that's kind of wraps up my topic for today, for this first episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It'll be up on YouTube. The video, at least, will be up on YouTube, and by the end of this week. And hopefully, well, I should say hopefully, I think the podcast itself will be up on iTunes and Spotify by next week. I just have to go in and submit it to iTunes because I've done it before. And I remember from last time it took about a week for them to approve, if it does get approved. But that's kind of the process. And then after that, it'll be a lot easier to upload. But like I said, this is kind of a rough draft episode. You know, I mean, yes, I have recorded podcasts before, but I am working on, like I said, I want to kind of nail down what I'm thinking of doing is probably 2 episodes a week, one a topic of my choosing, and then a second one, kind of like a question and answer. So we did that before on the barbells and black belts. Didn't get a whole lot of questions all the time, but I think I can get at least a few solid questions a week, or I could even do it every 2 weeks and kind of just spend 15 to 20 minutes answering those. I think that could be very beneficial. So definitely I'll be posting that. So look out for that. And because I definitely want to hear you guys' questions, especially with now kind of readjusting to a new lifestyle, being quarantined and kind of readjusting your fitness and health, but still keeping up with it. I definitely am here to help you guys out. Also working on an intro song. My brother's writing it for me. So that will be, maybe might be on the first episode. We'll see by the time I get it uploaded. But definitely in the future, it will be on there. And again, like I said, I've been recording the video this entire time. For those of you that are watching it, so it will be on YouTube. And I plan on recording all my episodes on YouTube. So you'll have the video or just listening to the podcast. So kind of your choice of which way you want to go about taking in this content. So thank you again for watching and listening. So I did create a Instagram page. It's at daily_Brotein because Daily Brotein altogether was taken. So I did create that. So definitely follow me there. I'll be posting stuff in regards to the podcast, but also follow me at Kyler J Fitness if you aren't already. That's my main account. I'll definitely be more active still on that page. And then YouTube, it's Kyler Johnson Fitness. Same thing with Facebook. And yeah. And definitely subscribe to Daily Protein with Kyler on Apple and Spotify when it comes out. And thank you. Talk to you guys later.